Please get ready for transcription number 165 and 166 at 100 words per minute. 5 seconds. Start. The reasons why a development bank of this kind is necessary are not very difficult to understand. The size of the allocation for industrialization in the first 2 5-year plans was not, on the whole, so great as to strain the resources of the existing financial institutions, including banks, but latterly the gaps in the present institutional framework for the provision of industrial credit, especially for medium and long-term periods, have come to light. This, I think, was inevitable. With a projected outlay of rupees 3,100 crores for industrialization in the third 5-year plan, and with rising costs, it would have been surprising if the needs of industry could have been promptly or fully satisfied within our existing resources. As it is, the establishment of a high-powered agency which may be able to undertake residual responsibility or ultimately for promoting or accelerating industrial growth has become urgently necessary. I am not unmindful, sir, while I am saying this, on the effort which banks and other industrial finance corporations have been making to adapt themselves to the changes which are being brought about as a result of rapid industrialization. Bank advances this year, at the peak of the busy season, reached a record level, and nearly 60% of the advances are now granted for industrial purposes. In the case of the State Bank of India, which is our leading commercial bank, the figure, I believe, is even higher. 3/4 of the State Bank's advances, I understand, are sanctioned to industrial units. Although there has been this notable change in the outlook of the banking system, and although we have been facilitating this change by providing liquidity or refinance to the banks, they will find it increasingly difficult to provide the additional resources. There are many other competing demands on the resources of the banking system, and banks have also some statutory obligations in the matter of maintaining a specified percentage of their resources in cash or approved investments. In any case, the ability of the commercial banking system to assist industry is dependent in the long run on an increase in deposits. While banks can and should try to help the industry, it will be unrealistic to think that in the existing phase of development, they can continue to carry the burden of financing industrial enterprises without any external aid or assistance. We have a number of specialized agencies like the Industrial Finance Corporation and the State Finance Corporations, but they operate within certain limitations. Their capital or other resources are no longer adequate in relation to the total volume of the demand for long and medium term credit. The conditions in which or the security against which they can grant loans or other assistance are also rigid. Industrial units which need substantial capital of the order of more than 1 or 2 crores of rupees, or entrepreneurs planning for additions to capital or investment over a period of years do not, in many cases, have the assurance that the existing agencies will be able to provide for these needs in the existing conditions in which there is an acute shortage of capital in relation to demand. New enterprises which do not have the backing of the better known managing agency houses or the assistance of foreign collaborators are particularly likely to be affected. These enterprises, although they may be deserving, often tend to be overlooked or passed over in favor of other parties. We are envisaging the Industrial Development Bank as an institution designed to overcome these limitations and to accelerate the process of industrial growth. This new institution will be a wholly owned subsidiary of the Reserve Bank of India. It will be managed by a board consisting of the directors of the Central Board of the Reserve Bank. The bill provides that the Governor of the Reserve Bank will be the chairman of the Industrial Development Bank and that a deputy governor in the Reserve Bank to be specially appointed for this purpose will be the vice chairman. In view of its close association with the central bank of the country, the Industrial Development Bank will be able to draw on the knowledge and experience of that bank and to obtain in its day-to-day operation such guidance and assistance as may be necessary. The Industrial Development Bank, as I have indicated already, have the residual responsibility of ensuring that no deserving industrial enterprise which gets an allocation or is accorded a priority in our 5-year plans will be allowed to suffer for want of financial resources or assistance. For discharging this very onerous responsibility in an adequate manner, the Industrial Development Bank will have substantial funds of its own in the form of capital subscribed by the Reserve Bank of India. We are expecting the new institution to issue capital to the extent of rupees 100 crores. Like all other institutions, the Industrial Development Bank will be able to borrow money from the Reserve Bank. I should like to deal only with some important departments. I shall take first the Defense Department. The allocation to the Defense Department, which in the budget of the last year was rupees 800 crores, has been reduced to about rupees 700 crores. Is it because the defense requirement